Hello and welcome everyone. This is Phoenix with your Patriot Health Report for the weekend of December 28th, 2024. And as you can see from the title, New Year, New You. Oh yeah, it's exactly that. And what does that mean? Well, we're about to find out. Bob's going to share some things with us. He's with us right now in between the holiday period right now, between Christmas and New Year's, and he's joining us for an interview about this very topic. We're going to get right into it. Bob, how are you doing? How was your, here's the questions I have. How are you doing? How was your Christmas? Anything new going on you want to share with us before we get into the topic? And just overall, how's it going down there?
Well, thank you, Phoenix. Yeah, things are going well. It's really beautiful here right now. You know, it was a little cool on Christmas Day. It made it up to about 70 degrees, but you had to kind of wear a long sleeve shirt to go walk on the beach later in the night. And now today it's back up to 77. It's going to be 80 on the weekend. So it's and they say that, that spring is coming early this year to Florida. So
Oh, wow.
we're anticipating nice weather from here on out.
Very, very
And
good. I mean,
we
do, don't.
never got a freeze this year.
Oh, wow. Have you ever got a freeze? It's a rare thing. A rare thing.
Yeah, in parts of Florida they do. Northern Florida will get freezes, and once in a great while, in the middle of the state, usually not on the ocean, but inland a ways. It takes a good 3 hours to drive across Florida, so it's there. It's a lot different. The weather's a lot different in the middle of the state than it is on the west coast. But it's been really pleasant, and Christmas was great. It was a really nice day, and it was people were feeling grateful around here that the hurricanes are 3 months in the rearview mirror, and more progress is being made. So it was some people needed extra help this Christmas because they were people that didn't have a lot to begin with, and then when they got damages to their houses, it kind of really set them back. So there was a lot of people in the neighborhoods that would help people during Christmas with some extra money for gifts for their children, helping take care of the power bill so they didn't lose their electricity. And I think everybody's going to make it through with a little help from the neighbors.
Very good. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you
And
what, it is the season where people should reach out to others. I've seen a lot of that around myself also. So, all very
yeah,
good. Very good. What else is
yeah,
going on at the business side of things?
yeah. So we still have our really great sale going on. It's going to go on, till the end of the year, maybe a little bit longer, a few days longer. And we have, all of our best products that people like the most are on sale, including our Boomer Boost and our barley products, and our probiotics, our collagen peptides, our Good Night formula, which is very popular. These are all on sale, 25% off, as well as all of our total health systems. And then we have a combo that we put together that is an herbal bundle that people are getting to have for their medicine cabinet. So we have ashwagandha and turmeric and olive leaf extract. We put together in a bundle of three and reduced the price by half. So normally what was $120, you can now get for $59.95. Some people like having it in their medicine cabinet. Some people like me take these products every day, and you can put uh, certain things, the products that are on sale 25% off, you can put those on to auto ship and save another 10%. You can even get free shipping that way. And we're also, for people who are starting up, a new subscription, we're giving them a free blender bottle as well. So there's a lot of savings, and you can see it in detail on the on sale page where it shows pictures of everything, and then it gives you detailed pricing of what it was and what it is now, and how much you can save, how you get your free shaker bottle. And this is the best sale that we do all year long, and it's appropriate for this time of year, Phoenix, because it gives people a chance to get started with a much lower price than the regular price is. And so for people that are making New Year's resolutions about their health, this is the way to get started.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, and so also just wanted to say that last week I had two visitors that came to the office. It was a husband and wife team that had been listening to the Patriot Health Report for 6 years. And they, at one point, they were spending a lot of time at two different places out on the West Coast, and they would do a lot of driving back and forth. And they would listen to the Patriot Health Report while they were driving. And the woman is a health coach, like a life coach specializing in health and wellness. And they've been using our nutrition products for a number of years. And we got to sit and talk for quite a good while about things that are new, things that we knew about that were new, stuff that the two of them knew about that were new things to us. And it was just a really great meeting, and great to know that we got to meet again somebody face to face that has been listening to the Patriot Health Report.
Oh, that's very cool. I always love hearing that. Well, I do have one question though. The guy's name didn't have to be Guido, was it? And was he asking a lot of questions about me, Bob? What?
No,
Only
no,
kidding.
there were no questions, and no, they came to see me,
Very cool.
and they were grateful for you for being the one that goes to all the trouble to make the availability of all your shows.
It's
And
not no trouble at
the,
all. It's my pleasure. I always think about the shows are Bob. We've been doing this for years, and I always learn something every single time. And I did tell everybody, just so you know, I did tell Bob something health related one time he had never heard of before. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm like, I actually told you something you didn't know, but that's a one off. I'm telling you, everybody, because always the information and things you share with us are really, really good information, enlightening, sometimes creepy, but always enjoyable, really cool. So I thank you also.
well, well, thank you. And you know, sometimes when we've done this probably 5 times in the past, Phoenix, where we've talked to people about the new year and the best ways to make the most of the upcoming year. And this year is going to be very different. You have a whole new way in the United States of business, the way business is going to be done at the government level. There's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of surprises, and it'll be really good for people to really be on their A game and ready to be really strong and resilient and flexible, and also ready to take advantage of new opportunities that might arise by these changes. And typically, what we've done in the past, Phoenix, is talk about some of the basic standard things that people can do with planning and maybe a vision board and that type of thing. And we never get to a certain segment of the of things people can do in the new year that might be a little bit different than they've heard of before. So I thought maybe I would just start right there. And so, for example, uh, you know, people can do a cleanse to start the new year, and a lot of people will do that. You can use our sprouted barley seeds and zeolite to cleanse your body. But also, what about cleansing your emotional self? And what about cleansing your spiritual self? Maybe cleansing your relationship silo? And what are the things that people can use and do to begin, thinking about doing that? And so here's one that could be really great. And there's a lady, if people are listening that live in the Tampa St. Pete area, there's a really great lady here that can do this type of therapy. But there's people all over the country that can do it. And if people listen to what I'm about to say and want help finding a therapist that will help them with this type of a cleanse, we'll be happy to walk you through how to find the person in your area. And so this is a technique that's referred to as SER, standing for somato emotional release, and somato meaning of the body. And it turns out that if people are under stress or they experience a trauma, and didn't have to happen in 2024, it could have happened during the time you were in the womb. You could have experienced trauma from negative energy in the area. And that energy that your body takes on from these traumas or emotional distress tends to store itself in different parts of your body. And it can have a negative effect on that part of your body. And quite often it gets stored in muscles. So, say, for example, you have a trauma that is a car accident, and you're not really injured physically in the car accident, but it's very shocking and distressing. And maybe you have to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance and then released later that day. And even if you might only have a bump or bruise, the shock of that collision is not gone. That shock stays in your body and tends to create what they call an energy cyst in a certain part of your body. And quite oftentimes it's in your legs. And those energy cysts tend to kind of poison the whole rest of your body and just kind of drag down your psychospiritual energy. And a skilled therapist who's skilled in craniosacral therapy and SER can help you to find those spots in your body where you have these energy blockages and actually release the energy out of your body. So it's not a hands-on therapy, but it's a hovering hands therapy where the therapist will kind of scan your body with their hands, and they'll come to a spot and they'll go, oh, what was it that happened, about 6 years ago that created some type of an upset or trauma in your life? And the person will think about it, and they're in a mild trance during this period because the therapist has put them into a trance that we call still point. And so your body starts to provide information, you start to think back, and you might say, well, no, nothing really. And then it's like, oh my God, yes, that's when this happened. And so the therapist will hover their hand over that spot, ask you more questions about it, and lead you into agreeing to release the energy that's associated with that trauma. And you will then experience what's called a clonism, or kind of like a little muscle spasm, sometimes not so little. And that spasm is an indication of the release of the energy. And the therapist can actually feel that release and actually hear the release, almost like a hissing sound of steam being released. And sometimes even, acupuncturists will do this, Phoenix. If someone has one of these energy cysts, they'll make a tiny cut in the person where that is, and actual steam will come out of the person's body as the release is occurring.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
crazy.
so consider having a session with a craniosacral therapist trained in SER. And there's a website where you can go and find one by your zip code and shop by modality that they're an expert in and find SER. And we can help you with that. And go for one session and just go with anticipating a very, very relaxing experience that is also going to be accompanied with some emotional release, which might involve some crying. Maybe if it's an extreme thing that was really severe, might be some gnashing of teeth and screaming and releasing. I had that happen to me, Phoenix, when I was 17 years old. I was in an accident where I was run over by a van that was going 60 miles an hour, and I was walking and got hit. And one of the things that happened was it broke my left leg in half, both of the bones in my left leg. And for a whole year, I went through surgeries and to save my leg. But each time I went in for surgery, there was a chance that they were going to amputate my leg. And eventually, in a war hospital in Israel in 1973, this was right after the Yom Kippur War, they operated on my leg there. And that was the final operation. And I never had to have that amputation. But the anguish and the fear of that threat stayed with me for all those years. And then somewhere around 25 years ago, I was with an SER therapist who honed in on that leg. And I had this really powerful emotional release regarding the fear and the harbored horror of a potential amputation. And I was able to release it and move on from there. And so that's kind of the extreme of what can happen, but there's many other gradations of energy cysts that can be attenuated by a skilled therapist that are very helpful in creating a new profile for you for the new year. So it gives you this new sense of freedom, this sometimes even a new posture that people begin to recognize, where they hold their head up higher. Everything seems brighter when you're finished with an SDR, and you just feel more connected to the earth, more connected to life, where you're not kind of slogging through life unaware. And energy cysts can do that to you.
I have heard of this, Bob. I had someone years ago tell me that many times people have reoccurring back pain. It's many times something that happened in their past, and they didn't exactly call it what you're calling it, but it's the same thing. This built up energy, negative energy, and many times it settles in the muscles in the back. And so I find that interesting. One other thing before you continue on this. What kind of costs are we talking about? Like if someone is listening, they're like, you know what, I may want to try that. I'm going to give Bob a call, find out a local practitioner. How much is that going to set somebody back?
I can tell you it's probably going to be between $80 and $150, depending on where you live. And, if it's in New York City and downtown Manhattan, maybe $200. If you're here in St. Petersburg, $80 to $100.
Oh, that's actually very reasonable, especially if indeed the success is, with success. And the other one other question, I'll let you go forward. You know, I sometimes play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Um, Success rate. I mean, is it you know a high success rate, or a lot of people go in? Well, I tried it once, I tried it twice, and it didn't work. I mean, how's the success on this technique?
Um, I would say it's very high, above 80%. It depends on the skill of the therapist. Some therapists are not only trained in SER, but when somebody goes to these advanced trainings, Phoenix, like craniosacral therapy or SER, they tend to be the type of therapist who's constantly learning the cutting edge techniques. And so they may also be a certified NLP practitioner, a hypnotist. They might be certified in heart centered therapy, which deals with spirit attachments. And so usually when you go, you're in really good hands. The therapist has the ability to put you in a trance where they arrest the pulse of your cerebral spinal fluid, which puts you into a highly healing mode. And then their languaging skills are quite often very advanced in coaxing you into the therapy. And then being there for you as an anchor and a защитник, as they say in Russian, a protector. And so they're there to be your protector, but at the same time to be your facilitator of these clonisms. And so there's a great balance that they tend to have. So I would say it works almost all the time. Now, it doesn't mean
Mm.
it's going to solve all your problems, because not everything that people deal with is only an energy cyst, right? And so that's why when you've had traumas that you're trying to clear so you can move into the new year with vigor and confidence and a renewed sense of energy, that's why you would also want to either learn yourself to do the technique called havening, or you would secure a havening therapist to help you. And the family that came to visit, we talked about this, Phoenix, when they were here, and they had heard us talk about it, but they weren't really sure quite what it was. And that happens, when people listen to podcasts or YouTube presentations. Sometimes there's a lot of information, and the one thing that you need the most may have been mentioned or talked about, but you didn't quite, have it as part of your objective of what you were going to do, in the future. And so havening goes along really well with somato-emotional release, because the same trauma that created the energy cyst could have also created a situation in your brain, in your amygdala, where you're setting up a feedback loop from your amygdala to your frontal cortex to your heart muscle, which is keeping you stuck in a mild form or even a severe form of PTSD, a post traumatic stress disorder. And so some people need both. They need SER because the trauma created that cyst, but it also created a situation in their amygdala. And so the havening will take care of that part in your amygdala. And doing both almost always works. But there are occasions where the therapist may not be aware, may not be trained far enough to be aware that there is also a spiritual energy issue that you might need to have cleared. And and so if you've ever been told that that's the case for you, or you've been advised that you might need spiritual energy clearing, you want to find someone trained in heart-centered therapy, and you can find that type of person on the same website where you can find the person trained in SER.
Very cool. That's very, very cool. And again, if anybody wants more information, give Bob a call. And you know what? Right now, it's kind of unorthodox. Let's give your number and contact info out right now. If someone's very interested in this and they're listening, they want to jot that number down.
Yeah, so the number is 800-861-4609. And if you go to patriotintelreport.com, you'll be able to make your way to our website by looking on the top left of the screen. You'll see a picture of a lady that looks like she's in a blue lightning storm. So if you click on the lady in the blue lightning, you'll find your way onto our site. And of course, our phone number is on the site at the bottom of the page. And but if you want to call, or if you're like the people last week, you want to stop by, call ahead of time so that I can set a time when I'll be here in the office to meet up with you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So please continue.
Yeah, so there's other things that can be very helpful in this cleanse part of making way for the new year. And um, there's a couple of things are that you can learn yourself to do. One of which is called the healing codes. And again, Phoenix, we talked about this before on shows, but the healing codes is a hands-on healing technique. Again, it's not actually hands-on where you're touching, but kind of hovering. And it's different than somato-emotional release, but can be extremely valuable, extremely helpful. And if you go to their website, thehealingcodes.com, you can learn about this technique, which is a technique that was given during a time of prayer to a medical doctor whose name is Dr. Lloyd. And Dr. Lloyd was praying for his wife who had severe depression for many years. And she was in a very bad way at that particular time. And he was praying while he was in the airport. And when he got on the plane and closed his eyes, he started receiving a download of information from what he described as Christ consciousness. And it was a healing technique that is very special and very powerful. And it involves holding your hand with all of your fingers kind of in the same place, meaning they're all the same distance apart. So if you were to take your hand and put it out in front of you and have your fingers spread out about a quarter of an inch apart, and then uh, have them all be even with each other as best as you can. And you can almost like each one was a little flashlight. And you can use this with both of your hands, and you can learn what position on your face and neck to hold your hands in combinations while you repeat certain phrases of affirmation of health and wellness. And what was discovered, and I asked Bruce Lipton about this one time. And Bruce, who wrote the book, The Biology of Belief, was a scientific consultant to Dr. Lloyd and his business partner, Dr. Johnson, about how this was actually working. And I asked him one time at a presentation he was making at a church here in St. Petersburg if the healing codes was changing the brain waves in specific parts of the brain that were allowing for healing, and if it was doing it by using quantum interference patterns. And he looked up at me during this book signing, and he looked at me and he goes, yeah, something like that. Well, the next time they released the manual where you would learn yourself how to do the healing codes, they incorporated that quantum interference pattern in a drawing to explain how it was working.
Ha!
And so
So,
this is
okay,
a,
stop right there. So you're telling me the guy snagged your idea?
no, he knew that that's what it was,
Oh,
but they
right.
had not put it into the manual
Okay.
before. And when I spoke to him about it, it was almost like the cat was out of the bag, you know.
Okay.
And I think he's thought to himself at that point, maybe we should put this in the manual so people actually know how it's working. Now, that's actually the end product of how it's working. This is a technique that was channeled from the quantum field by a medical doctor. All right. So how that happened, nobody knows how that actually happened. It manifested as a quantum interference pattern here in the third dimension. And so anyway, consider learning yourself how to do the healing codes or finding a certified healing codes expert that can that can help you with certain issues that you might be having. Now, I can tell you this, Phoenix, from experience. I've used that somato emotional release technique combined with heart centered therapy, combined with the healing codes, where I do them in succession for a patient. And I'm telling you, there are people that lived an extra 15 years from using those techniques. People
Amazing.
that were sent home to die and were expected to die within 2 or 3 days. And these techniques are not just for clearing the way for the new year. They can literally be life-saving techniques that can heal things. And that's what Dr. Lloyd uses the healing codes for. Okay.
Right.
He's a healer. And so I wanted to talk about some of these things at the beginning, Phoenix, because a new year, new you. Um, you know, there's been a lot of stress in people's lives recently. A lot of bad stuff going on, and then finishing up in Florida with the two worst hurricanes that ever hit the west
Yeah.
coast of
Yeah.
Florida, right?
It's bad.
Within 10 days of each other. There's a lot of stress, and some people did not live through that stress, Phoenix. There were people that died of the stress of the moment during those hurricanes. Okay.
You know,
And
that's a biblical thing in the Bible. It talks about in some of the eschatology, the prophecies. It says, "And men's hearts shall fail them for what they see coming upon the earth." That people can get
yeah,
traumatized, and it's actually happened to some relatively healthy people. I know there were some deaths from people who went from very crude, remote societies and brought into the United States thinking this is a wonderful thing for them as refugees. And the trauma and shock of the culture change was so severe, people have actually died from it.
yeah, yeah. And so, when you think of how of the worst case scenario, and then you think about, here we are at the dawn of 2025, and the need for people to have access to spiritual, emotional, and energetic cleansing so you're not dragging this cloud of negative energy with you into the new year. It's perfectly possible that you could cleanse all of it and march forward in a whole new way. And so that's why I'm bringing these things up uh, first. There's other techniques as well. There's a technique called matrix energetics, and you can actually purchase a book with that title, Matrix Energetics, and you can find people who are certified practitioners of Matrix Energetics, which is another one of these hand hovering techniques that allows the therapist to be able to be a medical intuitive and to use energy from their hands to heal energetic wounds that have occurred in a person's life. And I know a few people that have been through all that training. I've been through some of the training with them and participated in these types of healings, and I've seen numerous miraculous things um, that Richard Bartlett, who's the founder of Matrix Energetics, has put forward for all of us to know about.
Very cool. It's some amazing stuff right there, Bob. And like you said, I'm glad you started with this because in the past few times we never got to all this detailed type stuff. I mean, it's one thing to talk about, and you need this nutritional product, you need to exercise, but this is stuff that's kind of it's over the counter, but not. I mean, you're sharing with us here for the past 35 minutes uncommon things. I mean, I'm sure there are many people listening right now like, wow, I've never heard of that. And so this is really helpful, very helpful.
Good. I'm glad that you feel that way, and I think that you know there's another really really valuable thing people can do to prepare themselves for this new year, and that is either learning how to do for yourself or going to a therapist that specializes in lymph drainage. And human beings live in a we live in a very toxic world, a toxic planet. When we say toxic, we mean that our physical anatomy, our skin and muscles and organs and our brain is very filled with water. We are very gelatinous beings. And it's very easy for us to absorb toxicity through our breath, through our skin, through our eyes, etc. And so our our liquid system, that is our lymphatic system, it has as much fluid as our blood, and it runs alongside of our circulatory system. And but the we don't have a pump for the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system doesn't have a heart to pump blood through the vessels. It has valves that open and close that allow for the fluid to move. And the purpose of that fluid is it's multi-purpose, but one of the biggest things is for cleansing toxins and boosting your immune system. Your immune system, your lymph is part of your immune system and your detoxification system. But living in a more and more toxic world where there's tire dust now and things like that that humans are constantly exposed to, our lymph systems tend to get sluggish because they're overburdened and they need to detoxify the toxins in your body, and most of it is coming from your blood. So people's blood gets very toxic, and then the plasma purposefully leaks out of your blood system. It's not 100% self-contained. The blood leaks out and it gets into this interstitial fluid where the lymph vessels are floating, and those valves open and in comes the plasma, and for the purpose of cleansing your blood. And so it'll go through, it'll land in these nodes, and the lymph stays there for a while, and the activity in the nodes will kill bacteria and change the chemical formulation of toxins, and then it weaves this lymph all the way up to your clavicle nodes, which are right by your collarbones, and then it drops down and it comes back into your blood, all the way up at the top of your heart, and the lymph will go back in. This plasma that's got cleansed goes back into your blood, and this is how the whole thing works. But if you get sluggish because you're over toxic, now your whole life is going to feel sluggish. You're just not going to move as fast. You won't think as well. You won't feel as well. You won't perform as well. And it would be a really good thing to be able to help your lymph system. And luckily, the lymph, most of it, is right on the surface of your skin, and it's highly reactive to a gentle massage that will move that fluid along and speed up the detoxification process so you can cleanse your blood better and enhance your immune system. And in some people, Phoenix, that lymph might get so sluggish that it causes tremendous swelling. And so being able to know how to move that lymph gently in the right direction is really, really valuable. And there are trained therapists that are trained by very advanced osteopathic doctors that did the dissections of the whole human lymph system and figured out where it was going and how it moved and what was connected to what. And I actually was able to watch a 6 hour long dissection video of the lymph system that was performed by Dr. Chickley. And once you see that
Well,
and you go, oh, okay, now I know how it works, well, then you can begin to study and become a lymph therapist. But you can also learn the basics and do it for yourself. So I put together a video for people, Phoenix, to learn to do that. And if they're on our site, just type in, or you don't even have to type in because it's got its own special spot. So if you're on our website, just click on the section of the website that says podcasts and blogs. And then once you're there, you'll see a section that's called self-care. And if you click on self-care, you will see uh, a, a video about lymph drainage, right? And there's a picture of a chart that has the human body. And at the top, it says manual lymphatic drainage. That shows you in that chart what it is. But if you click it, there's a video of me showing you person to person exactly how to do this. And if you don't want to learn to do it yourself, find yourself a lymphatic drainage specialist to help you. Amazingly wonderful thing to do to start the year. And some people like it so much they'll go back every month or every couple of months for another session. And again, if people want to call us, we can help you to find that type of person in your area.
very cool. Yeah, and at the beginning when we were talking on the intro here, Bob was talking about thankful, all the things I've learned to you. I always learn something. And fascinating things to learn something, and also sometimes you successfully creep me out. I mean, you're like, oh, and I was watching a 6 hour dissection of the human body. It was fascinating. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, Bob, really? And then you cut from that. It goes, and if people want to learn how to do this, I'm thinking to myself, what, the dissection or how to drain their lymph? I'm like, oh my gosh, Bob. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you also. But anyway, yeah, it wouldn't bother me. I've done medical things before, trauma things, and I'm only kidding about being really freaked out. But still, I can see some people out their eyes probably got real wide, like what? For 6 hours, he watched a human dissection of the lymphatic system, and I was fascinated. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna stop right now, but please continue. But thank you very much. You did it. You nailed one. You gave me one last freak out at the end of the year. Very good. Good job.
Good. Okay. Excellent. I'm glad to help out any way that I can.
You probably have. Bob probably has hash marks on his desk. Like, yes, did it again. Put some. I freaked Phoenix out anyway. But please continue. No, all joking aside, really good info. Please continue.
Yeah. So another, we've talked about the importance of gratitude many times before, and so there's just this one thing that I would suggest if you're only going to do one thing related to gratitude, and you're only going to spend 10 seconds a day on gratitude, what I would do is show gratitude for being alive. All right. Express to God your thanks for being alive here on planet Earth. And really, and think about it. This Earth is amazing. You could watch YouTube videos all day, every day for 50 years and not see visual evidence of all the amazing things about this Earth. It's it's massive. It's very, very diverse. It's very beautiful. We've been given these eyes to enjoy the beauty. We've been given these bodies where we're upright and we have hands to manipulate things and we can move around and do stuff on this incredible planet in this incredible galaxy, right? And so if you are happy to be here and you're having a good experience and enjoying your life, when you get up in the morning, pronounce to God your gratitude for this life and pronounce to God that you want to stay alive. Right? And this is the very beginning of affirmations and gratitude and beginning to plan for the new year. Because if you start by saying, wow, boy, am I really glad to be alive. I feel great. And you can sing yourself a song to those words, I feel great, and make up a chorus, make up all the reasons why you feel great, make up all the reasons why you're glad to be alive, and really let it come forward from your heart and from the depths of your soul and become this energy projection to demonstrate to your creator your intense gratitude and your intense desire and proclamation to be alive in 2025 and to use that state of energetic beingness to plan your life, to plan your year, to plan your activities, to plan what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. Because a lot of people will go ahead and say, all right, it's time to get out my planner and I'm going to write down my 4 goals for the year. Okay, that's great. Well, is that what's really going to make you happy? Or when you get out your planner, after you've put yourself into this energetic state of immense gratitude, and you've proclaimed your desire to live your life to the fullest in 2025, how do you think that journal or that planning guide might be a little bit different?
Very good. Let me add one thing. You're talking about gratitude, and I tell people this. I'm going to interject something here for everyone also. You may have heard it from me. If you've listened for a long time, you probably have, but people forget. It's always a good idea. I have found personally myself, Bob, to express my gratitude right in the morning. I mean, to roll out of the bed before I consciously move my body, physically move my body till my feet swing around to hit the floor. I do 2 things. Number 1, I stretch kind of like a cat. Like a cat stretches, I stretch my muscles a little bit. And before I even move my legs, I thank God for the day and know and affirm that it's going to be a wonderful, great day. And, throw some things in there that you may be anticipating or all that and be thankful for it. And, thank God and the angels for, being there and helping you and that you are alive. And literally when your feet hit the floor and you stand up, have a smile on your face. And it may be tough for people to do that because people have been negatively, and we've talked about this before, the negative aspects we're programmed with as a child and as an adult, through the media, family, whatever. It's tough for people because a lot of people, Bob, they'll get up in the morning, they'll be like, oh gosh, it's Monday morning, or oh, it's Wednesday, I got to do this, and oh no, and literally the first thoughts that they will have is, I can't believe it's another day, oh, I'm achy, oh, I'm this, and they're not being positive at all. It's basically like when you turn your computer on, you're setting the program. You're programming the day, and literally, I can also compare it to shooting an arrow. Right, the energy it takes for you to get out of bed is like the energy it takes. Well, comparatively, like pulling a bowstring back with an arrow. And the thing about it is, if you haphazardly, get out of bed or you're negative, oh, I'll never hit the target, oh, I don't know, I'm this, and you let that bowstring go and that arrow, you have no idea where it's going to go. It could literally shoot you in the foot or, break something that you love. But if you, with intent, as you're energetically preloading that longbow with the arrow, if you energetically focus on your target, yes, I will hit the bullseye. I will be successful. This will be great. I'm going to feel so good when I do. And boom, you let it go. Because when you let it go, when you initially release that energy, there's no do-overs. There's no take-backs. I mean, it's gone. You launch that arrow, it's gone. So literally, you're launching the arrow of intent when you get out of bed. And I've found it very helpful and very good to preload your day with positive things, positive intent, being grateful for things, and literally, and it's, I naturally do it. I have a smile on my face, knocking on wood there because, but I have a smile on my face when I get out of bed. And even if it's like, kind of tired this morning or, oh, it's a little too early or whatever, that's all aside because I know it's going to be a good day. And if people can learn that technique with, like Bob's saying, setting, being grateful and the gratitude aspect, it can really make a difference in your life, in your day. And I mean, then we can go into we could branch off on this for 2 hours, talk about Neville Goddard and setting intent and, all of this. And other people have taught the same thing. But I just wanted to interject that before we roll out of here, Bob. I just wanted to say that and share that with everyone. So that way, at least I put something out, for this this interview. So there you go.
That's really great. About 3 months ago, Phoenix, we did a show on intent where we went into a lot of that. So if people look back, if you're on YouTube and you want to see the one on intent, you can search in the YouTube search or go to the channel and find it. It was packed with a whole bunch of other stuff that goes together with this. But what I like, Phoenix, about the arrow, because you can take an arrow and you can dip the arrowhead into beautiful things. You can dip it into your intent of compassion and patience and loving kindness, your intentions of the good things you're going to do for yourself and for other people. But the arrow has also an aura of aggressiveness. You're shooting something very fast that has potential, huge potential. And that bow that is being pulled and projecting it is a source of energy that is very aggressive. And this is a great time to think about being like that. Okay, 2025 is going to be a year of immense change. And if you're anchored in your heart and your soul with what you believe is right and good and compassionate and for the greater good, don't shy away from it. If people say to you, what are you so happy about? What is it? How did you accomplish all of those things? Well, you're not going to say, oh, well, just, I was lucky, da, da, da. And no, I say, be aggressive and challenge the other person. Well, this is what I did. I learned to do this and I learned to do that. And I knew exactly what I wanted. And I went after it with all of my energy. And I aggressively went after that goal of goodness. And I was able to accomplish it. And you can do the same thing too. But don't be afraid to be aggressive. You'll always hear this where people say, well, why is that guy so aggressive? He's too aggressive. Let's get away from him. Well, they say there's aggression and there's aggression, right? Just like there was a dentist named Doc Holliday, right? And so
Ah, that's good.
you,
That's good. Dennis
yeah, and so
named Doc Holliday.
don't be,
Very good.
yeah, don't be afraid to be aggressive. And I also say be defensive, right? Don't be afraid if other people say, well, boy, you're so defensive. That guy, he's so defensive. Yeah, well, there's a very good reason why I'm defensive, right? Because I've got this vision of paradise for my life that's very good. It doesn't do anything to harm anybody else. And I've decided that I'm the creator, the co-creator with God of my personal silo of paradise. And I'm going to share it with other people. And if somebody comes sniping at me and says, yeah, I don't think so. I think that maybe we're going to have to, intercede and stop you from doing those good things. Right? Sound familiar? Well, be defensive. Wait a minute. No, put your hand out. No, I'm being defensive and I'm protecting the paradise of my own choosing, which is good and just, it creates happiness for people around me, and you're not welcome here, right? So be defensive, because that energy can come in the form of another person who's trying to take something from you. That could come in the form of a spirit attachment that's trying to become attached to you, right? And you need to be defensive. No, get away. And if you don't get away, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
recycle you into universal energy.
Oh, okay. Stop right there. I'm going to recycle you with the universal
Yeah,
energy. I know what you're saying there. That's pretty
yeah,
slick there, buddy.
yeah. And I'm talking about in the spirit world, right? This is stand guard. Stand guard at your energy field to not be sniped at by energies from the spirit world. And that's where the phrase comes from. They're going to snipe at you, you're going to be defensive. If they don't leave, you're going to make other arrangements for them. And so this is 2025. This is the year where we all have to stand tall and stand proud and be ready to be the very, very best that we can be, so that we are happy and we spread happiness to the people around us.
Very good. An image, many times when you're talking and, giving lectures, I have imagery that comes up. And I was talking about the arrow, didn't think of this, but, you brought it up about the strength of the arrow. I thought of Cupid, the mythological character of Cupid and Cupid's arrow. And what would Cupid do? Cupid would use his bow and draw it back with an arrow and strike the heart of someone. It was Cupid's love. And it was that aggression of this active energy that went forward with force that brought forth joy, love, and companionship. And I don't know, for some reason, that imagery just came to me when you were talking. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was in the Hermitage Museum one time in Russia, and there was a painting of Cupid. It was up on the wall about 20 feet up. And somehow, wherever you went in that room, the arrow was pointing at you.
Oh wow! Was that obviously the Hermitage Museum? Where is that located? What city?
In St. Petersburg.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
fascinating. And obviously, well, I know the culture of Russia and what they do. Except during some of the Soviet era, they did a lot of modern stuff for the time. Was that a master who did that? Was that a master's painting, or how old was that painting?
I don't know. I didn't get the details about it, but I did take a photograph of it that I still have. And you could have a person on one side of the room, they would swear the arrow was pointed at them. The person on the other side of the room would go, no, it's pointed at me.
And you know what I get from that? the power of love, the power of intent, the power of our desires transcends the physical. So no matter where you were physically or who you were, it could touch you in that room. And so that's what I got from that. So
yeah, what you seek is seeking you.
Ooh, that's good too. What you seek is seeking you. That's a good one right there. And you've had some good ones today, Bob. You always do, but no, my mind is just racing here. Okay, my mind is racing. New year, new you. And man, that time just ate up. We're at an hour right now. Fascinating information, fascinating topics. And, you know, it is going to be, things are changing, like Bob said. Astrologically, we look at the astrology of all this. You know, check with your favorite astrologer. And, man, this is a big year, a big time of change. We have political change. We have, you know, energetic change. We have bizarre changes, like strange things in the sky. And what will we see? I mean, we're really, like, on the shift of ages here, as been described by some. And things are changing, and you can change for the better. I can change for the better, you know, and the techniques that Bob has taught us and talked about today are really helpful and can really help you because we are, and we talked about this in the past, negatively programmed by, you know, maybe not intentionally, sometimes intentionally, by family, friends, schools, whatever, you know, and you can break away from that and go to the positive side. But anyway, like I said, we're at the end of the hour here, so we're gonna have to close this. Last Patriot Health Report for the year of 2024. Let's see, Bob. Let's close this up as usual. Give us your closing thoughts on this entire topic, and some words of wisdom, and also throw in there, very, very important, again, how to contact you, and any other information like that. And again, everybody, before Bob even gets into that, you can go to PatriotIntelReport.com. That's PatriotIntelReport.com. Look at the page, go to the lady in the blue lightning storm on the left-hand side of the page. Click on that, take you right to Bob's site. So anyway, Bob, final thoughts, please.
Yeah, and so the phone number is on our website. If you're listening, you want to write it down, it's 800-861-4609. And Eastern time, we're open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. If you call, you'll get one of us on the phone, and we'll be able to help you. If you are calling because you're interested in the sale we mentioned earlier, we can help walk you through that, help you find just the right thing for you. And a lot of times people need help with certain things, Phoenix, that we don't have as part of what we do, but we know how to find help. For example, for a lymph therapist, for a craniosacral therapist, etc. And if people are interested in the healing codes, and you go on you try to look for the website, you can't find it, we'll help you find that as well. And I would just say, finally, I personally think 2025 is going to be a year that we all look back on as one of the most exciting and dynamic times of our entire lives. And I am going to be watching for opportunities, because I think as the dynamics unfold, there's going to be opportunities where new things are going to be revealed and exposed that are possibly technologies that can help all of us with our physical and mental health. And I'm going to be watching for such things that we might then be able to share here on the Patriot Health Report. And I think that if at the beginning of the year, you make sure that any baggage that was accumulated during the past year or the past 4 years or beyond even, get it cleansed out in any and every way that you possibly can, and then set your intentions for who you want to be, what you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to accomplish and become, and then every day live out creating new habits, new energy, new patterns of performance that match with the new energy of 2025. And you don't want to be left in the energy of 2024 during 2025. You want to upgrade, up level your energy, your motivation, your observation, and your power to take advantage of all the great things that are to come.
Wow, very good. Bob, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me today. I mean, right here in between Christmas and New Year's, taking the time to do that for all of our listeners. I really appreciate it, and I know people really do. Well, obviously, you have people travel there and say thank you. I mean, so you face-to-face find people who really appreciate this. And again, last Patriot Health Report of the year, everyone. And like Bob said, this is a new energy, a new time. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but set your intent. You have 365 days coming up that you will be able to smile and let your feet hit the floor with positive intention, joy, and gratitude in your heart, and all the other techniques that Bob shared. So let this be a time of renewal, restoration, health, wellness, wealth, joy, love, all of that. Bob, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it so much. We've done this so many years, and again, I want to tell you, again, one more time, I really appreciate it, and I learned so much. Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you, Phoenix. It was a pleasure. I'll look forward to next year.
Yep, see you next year, brother. So that's it, Bob. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, that is it. Your very last Patriot Health Report for the year 2024. Thank goodness. What a year. What a decade. Anyway, things are going to change in a big way, and you be part of that change in a positive way. Okay? You take control of the situation, take control of yourself, and with the techniques that Bob talked about here, really good information. And until the next Patriot Health Report, everyone be well, be strong, be positive, set your intent, and know that that 2025 is going to be a great, fantastic, prosperous, and healthy year for you. And until the next one, next year, everyone be well, God bless, and Phoenix and Bob out.